All right. Hello. Think I'm ready. It's been hours since I can come up here before you. Get myself ready to press this button. Um, Let me introduce myself. I'm David Gadget from Nowhere You Know. From a different world, apparently. Um, yeah, bear with me. I've got anxiety um, issues, from something bad happened to me in 1999 that I don't really remember. And built a new life, several lives, and then in 2014 something worse happened, very disturbing, that I 100% remember. I end up losing everything to the point that I ended up in the bush for about 3 years, um, stealing Wi-Fi from the next door neighbour, the farmer, um, until I could crawl out again. The what was it called? That shell shock. It was. I'm still in shell shock. But let's get past that. David Gadget, and it's what is it? It's 2020. Okay. Who thought we'd ever get there? It's at the last day of March, and damn, this might be just a video diary for me. Just in case it's not, I'll try to talk as there's people out there. I've wanted to do this for a long time. This is actually my second video, but my anxiety was too bad to do the first, so I thought I'd skip it and we'll do this second one. And only a couple of hours ago, it just flared up to me that it's got to be done, because over the last few years, I've been using the computer a bit more, looking at the internet, and over the last few months, okay, I can feel I'm calming down, settle down. Watching YouTube and researching this and looking that and studying the world. Basically, I originally started off studying the world markets, watching money go up and down. I have no idea how it works. I've got a general understanding. Things go up, things go down. I'm actually good at something else. Very good at that one thing. But because of what happened in 2014, I decided to look at something else. And then in the last few months, I've been watching a few podcasts, and I come across the Joe Rogan one. Watched a few of them. Brilliant man. He sort of inspired me. I'm thinking, how could I do something like this for myself? Yeah. But this afternoon, I watched one of them that's inspired me to finally press the button and explain something. I think it was number 146 with that bird guy, the machine. Um, you know, they're yabby-yabbying, and he did make a comment on saying, with today's environment, how did anybody know? And that was the point. That it just made a spark off me. Boom, I got reaction. I'm not sure if your volume is too loud or not. I don't know how to adjust the internal mic yet. And he made this comment, how could we all foreseen this? But the scary thing was, well, I knew a couple of years ago. Not new, but I had that feeling from watching the markets, and I did some the basic courses that go up and down. He said we didn't know this, and then boom, it just made a reaction in me. So I'm thinking, no, I want to do a little practice video, whether it goes out there or not, to explain what I could see happening, and it's why I was pretty much shut myself off from Facebook, and I've turned my phone off this year because Facebook is just full of possums and and hyenas. So it was like, it's not good for me, because the last couple of years I've been a squirrel preparing, but not as a prepper. I've seen the guys in America, man, they're crazy. Not today, not today. They're not crazy. I did a little bit of preparing, I grabbed extra toilet paper years ago, and then when I did crawl out of the bush and finally got myself a little place, I started collecting stuff from the side of the street, because every 6 months in my region we have roadside collection, get rid of some rubbish, and pretty much furnished my place, got some of my valuables out of storage. Uh, you know, back then, 2014, don't want to go on about it. Lost pretty much everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't want to go there. Where was I up to? Yeah, I became a squirrel. Became a squirrel. Started preparing, looking at the light of what's happened in the last couple of months. Still a little bit disappointed. So when you have anxiety, it's not fun when you have depression. One's an up, one's a downer. You're fucking no matter which way you go. But I didn't get prepared enough to take advantage of the opportunity of how this market moves, because it's a very complicated system. Mainly because I didn't really believe myself. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I see it doing. This is what I can assume of the probability and more likely what was going to happen in 2020. So I just want to get back to, he says, no one could foresee this coming. I tell you for a fact, plenty of people saw this coming and got ready for it, and well set up, and in the last 19 days, billionaires have got made at a phenomenal rate on a daily basis. But I saw the same thing, interpreted it a different way, trying to analyze it, because I'm not talking about the virus. It was more like, I knew 2020 there was going to be a global change. And yeah, I just, oh, okay, there you all are. Okay, this is how I came up with this. Now, I have no idea. Now, here it is. This I drew out a couple of years ago, and just watching the world and snippets here and there. Well, I don't actually remember, but some older people might remember the 99 cop bubble. I'm like, okay, 7 or 8 years later, you got the 2008 financial crisis, and we knew all the bullshit that's involved with that, and how they knew the big banks who, this is a crude drawing of the S&P 500. It was the most basic thing I could find that showed the the world market, general world market. It's not very specific. English one looks a little bit different, a little bit more calmer. This is the American one, and we'll get back to 2008. We know now how they fucked around with things. Back then, I had that feeling. That was before I started looking at the market, that this is just a fucking robbery. The biggest robbery you've ever had in history, like the old Great Train robbery. This was the next level. And then 2009, we recovered. The world recovered, started pushing up and up. But because I knew that the big banks, they're the ones who control the things going up and down. Me and you putting, $10 million in, we don't even put a blip in. I'll show you how, where's my pen? Show you how small it is here in just after 2000, and probably that size. That was the day of the 2000 that 211, that plane thing. It moved 3,000 cents or 3,000 pips or whatever they call it, but it was a blip on the world market. Even though that day it was horrible, but it stopped the world, took us all for notice, but it was still a blip, And moving on, 2009, after the 2008 robbery, we started going up. And, there's real estate people saying every 7 years something happens, makes the market move, And during, the market goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, But over the bigger scale, this is looking at the market on a daily candlestick movement. And then I'm thinking, 2014, there should have been another movement. But I started looking and thinking about the psychology of people, even the people who are moving the market and the everyday people. And all these professionals would have seen, oh, we're at the same height. Well, we're going to make the market move. But if the majority of mums and dads and superannuation companies believe it's going to go down, they're going to start putting their money foot down. But because the big banks control the market, they're like, no. So at that time, a lot of people got ripped off again. Not as severe as 2008 to 9, but then 2014, which was, 2008 was the bubble that we meant to have, and then double the bubble, 2014, I don't know what was going on. Well, actually, 2014, that's when the shit was happening to me and I lost everything and no one died. No, not yet. Not from my hand yet, even though I deserve it. But, so there was obviously some shit going around there, but I was busy with my own shit. But the market did not crash because it was double. What was it? Double bubble. But didn't crash. Now, 2018, I don't even know if I'm doing this right. 2018 to 19, it's 3 times the bubble. Everybody can see it. The professionals can see it. The mums and dads and the nut jobs like me can see it. And everybody's like, oh, it's going to be a crash. It's going to be a crash. And I was like, well, it looks like a crash. It's set up for a crash. The bubble, it's like how big the bubble can go. So for a couple of years, my mentality at that point, realizing it's like, no, the market's not going to crash, was I sort of realized just because we all, average people, know and expect that the market should crash, but we don't control the market at this point. So the big banks, they've got the power. They could make this go up indefinitely, while we are all thinking about it's got to crash. So the market did some weird shit over the last couple of years. It was up, down, up, down, up, down, but they were still small blips like back then. So I'm thinking all these people are expecting it, so they're all putting their money down to take advantage of another big move. But because we don't control the market, the big banks control the market, every time a bunch of people expecting the crash thought they put themselves in the right position, the market took that. And that whole time I'm thinking like, yeah, the big market has to make a crash, but they won't do it while we're all getting our confidence up. But as it gets higher and higher, people are hoarding their money, bit careful, not as much spending is happening out there. So I'm thinking, well, the best time to have, the only way the market's going to do like this move here, we'll get to this in a second, this big move, the only way you can have a big move is it's a global. Everybody has to be on board on it. Like 2008, majority of people were on it. Now, a couple of years, settle down, calm down. A couple of years before now, the last couple of years, I'm looking at it like the big banks are looking down at us into the pond, seeing that we're all expecting the crash. They're going to go, no, we'll just fuck around with it just for a while, make you think, lose a lot of money. It's like everybody's confidence was diminishing, so they're having that feeling of, it could be a depression. There's all this mumbo jumbo happening. But my figuring was in 2020 is the time for it to happen, because at the moment the market's up, but everybody is down. It's uncertain. So it's like, how do I explain it? It's easier in my head than this. Okay, where was I? Yeah, they're all uncertain, but there's got to be a trigger. A trigger's got to happen, something at a global thing. The best time to do that, and at the same time, we have to change. Not we. They have to change everybody's perception of this doom and impending gloom that we all see. So, but 2020 is a prime setup. It's like, oh, we're getting nearer to 2020. Oh, we're getting to the future. Oh, what's going to happen? Is the world going to blow up and all that bullshit? But it's not. It's like it's the future. In 2000, they said 2020, we're going to have fucking flying cars. Short version is, 2020 happened, and we all woke up the next morning like no one's got a flying car. So, that was funny. It was. Okay, so it was like at the 20. I knew people will come to the year of 2020 and go, "Yay, we're in the future," but it's not going to last for months. It's not going to even last for weeks. I actually worked at it. It lasted for fucking 6 hours. And in 6 hours in 2020, people realised we're not in the fucking future. So, but during that little point of turning into 2020, everybody's euphoria was a little bit up on a global scale. But it's 2020 and everybody in the planet euphoria is up. So that little bit of a depression was enough of a gap to trigger the rest of the world. However, they're going to do it. Apparently today we can see it's like, well, this virus bullshit. Where it was planned before, accident happened. I don't believe in accidents. No such thing as coincidence. Anything's related to money. I was not looking at a virus, didn't know, but I knew a global thing has to happen at the height of 2020 that everybody's now not feeling down. For a moment, they felt up. Bang! That's when I knew that's when the big banks, the organisation, whoever, thinks they want to run the world, control everybody and, blah, blah, blah. And then, in the last 3 months, we can see what happened. I think they froze the markets a couple of days ago, or just algorithms are doing it now because people's emotions are way up and down because the big bank people, the people actually working in the big banks, they're still average people. They're at ground zero more. And that's where I said in that 13, 19 days after the week or two when stock market was going crazy down and now China's buying, everything very cheap. Everybody who's got money is buying shit cheap. A couple of weeks later, the currency market, that's what I'm looking at, currency market and connection with gold, because that's the whole world thing. A stock market is, an individual suburb and a town and a country. I just used the S&P 500 for a global basic representation for kindergarten. So that's where Joe Rogan was saying, no one knew. Well, I knew, but I didn't know what I was talking about. I had just had that feeling and an assumption, and I didn't even believe myself. It's like this is more likely what's going to happen. The people in the industry knew a lot more than all of us, and they got the finger on their trigger on their keyboard, and boom, when there is a reverse of confidence, that will strike, and then the media jump on, and whoever controls them and prompts people up another way, and then suddenly the market will go in another direction, and this jump. If anybody's got a computer, they can look at this and see that jump. So that was a negative thing because it was just after everybody was just, it's 2020. Boom. Now this trigger, this bullshit. Okay, it's a real fucking thing. It's a real fucking virus. It's a baby virus. Don't get me wrong, because the real ones, yeah. Well, it's hard to say if the big one, will really come, because this dog's breakfast that get thrown out there. I think it then went a little bit haywire because yes, the market's made a lot of money because everybody else market doesn't money never disappears, but all the small people they lose it in one form or another, and it just gets transferred to these big guys. But then, and in a negative, these guys can make just as much as in a positive. So while we're all negative, they're making money. It's positive for them. And then you know what? 9 days ago, these bailouts and these politicians are trying to. They're panicking too, so they're going to throw money at everybody. You know, nowhere near enough. You know, it's not a very good band-aid. But you know, that point is when the market goes up. The big banks are making all money, but I think I've exhausted to the point where me and other people who knew what they were talking about, they could see this is how it should work, how the market moves. They're using everybody's. Don't need that. You know, just as you want to look, you know, it's up, down, and bang. They're using everybody's lack of understanding, lack of confidence. You know, they do always say confidence makes the market go up, and then when people's confidence don't go, I just believe, you know, the 2020 euphoria is just going to push everybody a little bit up, so they won't be thinking about a crash. Like, yes, you're right. Okay, it's not a crash. It's everything is honky dory, you know, and market 100%. If people did not get excited at day one of 2020, and they're still a little bit of pessimistic and ready for the crash, we'd all be a little bit more prepared financially because it's like being a squirrel. You prepare for winter. You know, we all got taught that crap as when we were a kid, but it's a financial winter, and we're all going to go for fucking hard times. And you know, I'm pretty much sorted, sort of. I don't have money or anything like that, but you know, I've got half a brain, so I got a little bit ready. So that's why it's only half a brain. But now that we're actually here, no, I don't even know where to go from there. That was mainly this video's point. This second video that I had to do to skip the first because, yeah, that's the horrible thing about anxiety too. You know, when you worry and you stress, none of this lead up and even this disaster, none of it affect me because I had my own shit going on. But when at the moment, last couple of hours, I was a bit excited, thinking, oh well, you know, Joe said this, and wow, fuck no, and then I said it out loud, like, oh shit, you know, I got to try to do this communication to all you people that it gets out there. So this is just a test, just a crazy boy, crazy boy. You know, I'm nowhere near as a man I'd want to be. You know, it's just the facts of life. But you know, I don't want to. I do not want to grow up. No, I don't want to grow up in this world. It's. I don't know. You know, how do you know express yourself now? It's might be actually a good thing. This thing, not as many people are going to die as I think, but it's going to wake a lot of people up. The people that facilitated this badly, very badly. Yes, it started off in China. How it started off, no one really wants to talk about that, you know. So, I knew back actually. Yeah, okay, back to this. Sorry, back a couple of years ago, I did hear snippets because I've learned how to use the internet a bit. China has, for the last 2 years, what I've heard, and maybe even longer before that, wanting to close the Chinese borders, you know, for their own purpose, for what they do every few hundred years, clean house, you know. But the last couple of years, they've been fighting with what's his name, Donald, is it Trump? Donald Trump, yeah, fighting with him because they're doing that was a trade war and all that, and China just wants to clean house, but the population is just like, no, we can't because we rely on the West way too much because there's millionaires getting popping out there. But I was surprised they just didn't close the border because they're not a democratic country, which I don't actually believe that shit works. That's just a word. It's not actually a real thing. But aside from that, they're a socialist country or communist, and they can tell their people and they're well trained to do what they want. But obviously the environment had to be set up right, and that wet market was a perfect petri dish for something to come out of it. I don't know how it got into it, who put it in, whether China, or they just took advantage of it. It's like, oh, let's get this ball rolling, close house, and they had already planned, I think, 1.2 million people die. It was a very small percent compared to their numbers on people. And I think in the last couple of months, they've sorted their shit out because their people are well trained. Us white nut jobs. Yeah, we're going to go, fuck no. And once it leaked, every country is at a different level. Back in the down under, about where am I? Down under, we're even more relaxed, but this social distancing thing is probably not as bad as for us, depending on where you live, because I can go out and spit out the front door and I'm probably not going to hit anybody for about 100 meters. So that's actually good. But this might bring us together. And then, but other countries with more community, and then Italy living on top of each other, and I don't want to get into politics and mumbo jumbo. Where was I? I was, I don't even know if I've lost you. I've probably, I was trying to thought it was somewhere. Yeah, China wanted a clean house. They will put up with a couple of years of crap just to struggle through, restructure, a clean house, whatever that scenario, works out to be. They got themselves sorted out pretty quickly, and I think Korea, they're like, they're onto it. And their benefit to the secondary effect for China was, fuck the white man, because we've been using China too much, which the good thing, we're going to all get pissed off and re-innovate our own self-reliance, which is going to be good. That's going to push the economics, the money, not up, but just it's going to get things going. People just got too greedy, relying on China and ripping them off for $3 a day and all that sort of crap. So China, because they're pegged 9 cents or $9 past the American dollar, they've been getting shafted for too long. Plus, I think they've got their own plan going on. They're a very isolated mentality country, but that's what they do. Now, America, Australia, England, Europe, fuck knows what's going on in Europe. There's some weird shit going on in Europe that I probably can't even talk about yet because, it's weird shit. And other people that know about weird shit, they probably know more than me. It's just like, oh wow, is that really how long the time? 27 minutes. This is meant 10 minutes. Fuck. So it's so so let's just cut this down a bit because this is my second video of two. One hasn't happened. I think that was the point that I want to say, that explain and test that I can present myself to the people of this rock, like how Joe Rogan says, we are on a fucking spinning rock with a bit of fucking gas that we think is a fucking, shield with a fucking flaming ball thing. It's like, he said it a few times. It's sort of great. Joe's inspired me a lot just to be pressing that button today. He was the spark. Got me going on. I was actually hoping to have a brain fart because my mind is like, but thank you for being here. At least I've got a little bit of venting going on. If it was going to get too depressing or too fucking crazy, I've got an anti-depression machine. That's what I'll call it. But it's actually my thing I use for when I have a brain fart. So let's just cheer everybody up. Oh, yeah, okay. Now, whoever's not laughing, right now, yeah, you really probably have to go and see a doctor. There's something wrong with you. Anyway, I'm gonna try to sign off now because I'm at 29 minutes. It was, I don't know, feels a little bit fulfilling. I think I feel a little bit better. I peed a lot before I had to press that button. I'm going to pee again now. And we're all going to get this. I think we're all going to get closer together. And I'm going to seriously try to come up with some other subjects to express myself, but that's not what the reason I want to do. I would like to. I don't know what's the word. Is it not empower people, inspire people, like Joe just did for me a couple of hours ago. You know, because there is so much crap out there, you don't know what to sort of dig through. So this might be just a sounding board for me. So I'm gonna say thank you if anybody's thank you if anybody's there. If not, and if you're a fucking crazy motherfucker, but you might not be too. Yeah, well, I won't agree with you because I don't even listen to myself. Nobody wants to get told what to do. That's why us white people, are going to take a little bit longer to get through this dog's breakfast of a situation that's happening because you all know better than me. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, everybody, um, and the possums and the hyenas. If I've touched someone and given them a bit of joy, that's really great. Bit of a dick saying I'm not really here for that. I'm actually here for the hyenas because they ramble on and fucking everybody's fucking crazy and they want to pick at everything that everybody will do and never do anything themselves. They think that's the only way they alleviate themselves, but I'm hoping, there's always going to be a bunch of dickheads out there, but we're looking at a majority of connection on this planet. This is my first time, second, first, whatever, to come out. Me coming out, and I'm feeling actually pretty good. So thank you for the free counselling session. One day, if as I get better and better, I can repay yous with more better, or let's see how it goes. Just for another laugh, or this is goodbye. That's how we do it. Yeah. All right. Now I press that button and